I could have your attention, please, we'll get started. Sorry for the delay, had a couple of technical difficulties. But as you know, we have so many incredibly talented kids at our school. And one of these talented kids has been working on a software project in Coach Sanford's class and at the EIC, and he has created a product called Markify, and he has been going presenting to different state leaders. He's presented at EIC conferences. On Monday, he presented to all of the career and technical directors in the state of Tennessee. Next week, he is presenting to the superintendent's conference. And so we have been very fortunate to witness some of the amazing things that Anthony has done. And so Anthony, when I heard about all of his engagements, Anthony said, I would love to show it to you. So unfortunately, Anthony was sick when we were about to look at it, but Coach Sanford did show it to me, and I was completely amazed and thought, man, this is a product that I believe our teachers would love. And so we said, this would be a great opportunity for you all, since we had this day available, to hear from Anthony directly of how the product works and how it can be used in your classrooms. So I'm going to turn it over to Anthony. He's going to present this to you, answer any questions that you have, and make it available. So Anthony Beckett. Here you go.
All right, well, thank you so much for the introduction. As much as I would love to get up here and give you a 45-minute long sales session about how great Markify is, I did want to actually make it something that I hope that all of you can take something away from and kind of think from the student perspective, if you will, how can I make my class better? And so, I kind of named my session From the Front Lines, being that I'm about to graduate as a senior. Student engagement, how it can be increased, since let's be honest, just about everyone in the class is on their phone. Are they actually paying attention these days anymore? And so I thought I might have some insights on that. You kind of gave me a bit of an introduction. Obviously, I'm a senior here at Berlin High School, but I have about 6 years of coding experience. And in 2022, I formed my company, Exotech, really with the mission of developing powerful real-time infrastructure for collaboration. And I love building groundbreaking apps like Markify, which hopefully you'll agree that it's groundbreaking. It's okay if not. So first of all, I think we have to address the elephant in the room. Who exactly let me in here? I have no teaching license, no college degree. I'm not a teacher. I'm not here to tell you how you should be teaching your class. And yes, you might as well address it right now. Yes, you're giving too much homework. But really, why am I here? And so it's really for two things, like I kind of covered. First of all, I want to give a bit of the student perspective. What is it like being a student in this day and age when there's phones, internet connectivity, and all of that? And second, obviously, I do want to sell you on Markify so that hopefully after Monday, when we come back Tuesday, all of you are using it in your class. And so kind of getting on here, all I'm going to do is kind of go through 3 different stories from throughout high school, and it's up to your own interpretation for how you might want to take that back to your class, how you want to do that. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you how to teach. So first of all, story number 1 is kind of about lectures. And I was in sophomore year algebra class, actually. Coach Slazer, I'm pretty sure he's in here. Yeah, there he is. And so this is actually also where Markify really started as an idea. So he was writing notes at the front on a smartboard. He would take notes on it, but he wasn't really taking full advantage of the smart capability of it. He would scroll up and All right. Don't laugh, because who in here is taking advantage of their smartboard? Let's be honest. You turn it off and the notes are gone. Except those that are using Markify. So you write notes at the front of the class, and when he was done with the page, he would scroll it up and move on. But I hadn't finished writing all these notes down. I had missed some of the notes, and I thought, all right, there's 2 options. I can either raise my hand, pause the whole class to figure out what the notes were, or say nothing and figure it out on homework. And I picked the second option, and let's just say the test Didn't go that well. But, the takeaway kind of from this is, and this happened frequently for me, this isn't just his class, this has been my whole high school. It's been teachers writing notes. I'm a perfectionist, I try to write them perfectly, and I wind up missing stuff because of that. And so, I often miss notes and I had a hard time concentrating because of that. It's kind of like, I didn't do this, but I'm like, it'd be way easier to just, kind of whip out my phone and scroll through TikTok or something and try to keep up with his or really any teacher's pace. So the takeaway here is that the classroom accessibility is key to maintaining student focus. If you're going too fast, or students can't see the notes very well, or they're not keeping up, then obviously they're just going to pull out their phone and kind of move on. They're not going to be paying that much attention. And second of all, lecturing often lacks critical thinking. When you're just writing up at the front of the board and students aren't partaking that much, they're not going to have good focus. It kind of goes back to that accessibility part. They're not paying attention. And so that's kind of take away from that. So story number 2, I call sticks and hand raising. And this one kind of goes to my Spanish class, and I'm not going to name any teacher on this one. But when there was a lack of kind of hand raising, when there was a lack of hand raising or student participation, that's when the sticks would come out. Pick up, draw a stick out, read the name, that person had to answer. And I was often too nervous to answer, and I also sucked at Spanish, so that probably went along with it. But this is something that I've talked to a lot of guidance counselors about. I've gotten a lot of feedback from this, that there's so many students that when those sticks come out or a teacher's just calling on them, I don't know the answer. Even though they do know the answer, they don't actually want to say it because they're so nervous to speak up in front of the whole class and be wrong and things like that. And so the takeaway here is that putting students on the spot rarely works effectively. The better thing is that students must want to answer. I'm sure all of you already strive for is trying to get it where students are raising their hand, they're trying to partake. And the key that I've learned as a student is that students want to do that when they feel like they're part of the lesson. If you're just raising your hand and saying something, the words come out, they go in everyone's ears, and they're gone. It's not part of the lesson forever. And so that's kind of something I looked at with Markify. Is there a way to make it where whatever a student writes that the teacher and everyone else sees, is there a way to keep that there forever? And I think we'll see later. And last but not least, story number 3, facilitating, not teaching. So this kind of goes back to the one AP English class I did. I did it once, not doing it again. Mr. Baker in here? And so this is actually a really positive story. I absolutely loved Mr. Baker's class. And I'm sure all of you in here know that he's an amazing teacher. About 90% of the class, lecturing material-wise, I would say, was Socratic seminar based. And in this, the students would essentially argue with other students. And that's kind of why I go to facilitating, not teaching. I would go as far to say Mr. Baker, most of the time, was a facilitator. He would sit at the back of the class or the front and make sure everyone's on track, arguing essentially, and that what they're arguing is actually true and getting to that truth in that story. He wasn't up there, he didn't go up there and be like, the theme is this. He would just make sure that as students are throwing out ideas and arguing, it's overall moving in that direction of figuring out what the theme is. And so the takeaway here is, first of all, students love arguing. And if you want to keep them off their phones, if you want to keep them engaged, when they're busy arguing, they ain't looking at their phone, I'll tell you that. And so I just think at the end of the day, the best thing that you can do as a teacher is try to get it, kind of going back to the previous point too, if you want to get students engaging, you want to put them where they're part of that lesson, where the whole lesson is them figuring it out and brainstorming. And so anyway, that's kind of my 3 short stories here to kind of take home with you or take to the classroom. But anyway, I obviously want to start a little bit of a sales pitch, but I'll hold it to a minute or 2 here. First of all, I want to say tech does not fix teaching. Technology will never, even with the AI wave coming on, tech is never going to replace the teacher. There has to be that human aspect. But that doesn't mean that technology can't help. It really disappoints me because, you see the school district or, really any school, even private schools, they're buying all these smart books, they're buying all these Chromebooks. And I feel like most of the time in the classroom, they're rarely used effectively. I feel like 90, even more than that, even 95% of the time, all a teacher uses the Chromebooks for is giving a quiz in Schoology. And it's like, where's the learning aspect of this? Why aren't the Chromebooks and tablets, things like that, why aren't they being used to actually help with the learning process? Why is most of the learning that's happening in this day and age still a lecture at the front of the classroom that a student's just kind of listening and taking notes to? Why aren't we getting up to date with the times, if you will? And I think that answer usually comes to software. I think a lot of the software that's out there currently, not to be mean, all of you are teachers, there's no ed tech CEOs in here, right? They're kind of money grabbing, and they're like, all right, we just want to make a product to sell it to the district, and we don't want to keep in mind what the teachers want. We just want something that looks good, maybe makes it look like the analytics are good. If any of you know Achieve 3000, I think you can get an idea of what that looks like. And so that's kind of what I wanted to change with Markify. Kind of going back to that first story, I was thinking, is there a way to take these notes from the front of the room and bring it to all the students to see up close, and where they could go back to any part if they missed something? And I actually, when I had this idea, I made a rule. I can't type one line of code for an entire month, because I wanted to talk to all the teachers I could. I talked to 20, 30 teachers during that month and make sure that it's actually a good idea that solves the problem. And it's really, really good I did that, as almost every teacher I talked to is like, yeah, that's a problem, but I ain't learning a new software to fix that problem. It's not a good enough problem. And so what I came to at the end of the month that teachers actually want, and hopefully all of you can kind of agree in this room, is they wanted something that when they, they're writing their notes or whatnot, they wanted it where the students, they can pass the baton to them to write the notes, to collaborate across an entire classroom where it's 30 students all working together to solve a problem, or to solve a worksheet, or to do some kind of review day. And so that's really where Markify went. And so enough talking though. I think I've talked long enough. What do you guys say about looking at a demo here? I've actually got 2 demos. I'm gonna walk around. So first of all, I'm just going to give a brief 4 or 5 minute demo max that kind of shows you what Markify is, how it works, and the basics of it. And then we're going to hop into an activity where, without jumping to it too soon, we're going to put all of you against each other. All right, so when you log into Markify, and I should mention, I just got an email literally like 15 minutes ago from the district IT people. It should be on all of your class links.
Hey guys, look, I'm sorry. If you know what it's like to get a software approved in that, so he has it approved for use at Brentwood High School, and you have it on your dashboard. So that's a huge accomplishment.
All right, so you don't all have to log in right now, but this is what you see once you log in. This is the dashboard of Markify. And I think you'll first notice it is very simple. There's literally only 2 buttons, really. A new lesson and a join. I think you know what the join does. But I'm just going to hit new lesson, and we're going to see there's 3 different options. You got just a blank page if you wanted that. We have Freeboard and Upload PDF. So Freeboard is like an endless whiteboard space for brainstorming. I think you can imagine different text boxes getting placed, students brainstorming things. Think of it like at the front of your classroom. I'm sure all of you have done that activity where you give everyone a sticky note and you tell them, go place it at the front of the classroom. Think of Freeboard like that front of the classroom. It lets all the students come and place their ideas. And it's endless, so as you write more notes or something, it gets bigger, so you never run out of room. Upload PDF lets you put an actual PDF or slideshow worksheet into it, and then you can write on that. It's similar to Kami if you use that as a teacher. So that's what I'm going to do, and I kind of just have a basic practice document in here. I'm going to open this up. You'll see it uploads right into it, opens straight away. And then there we go, we've got our worksheet, you've got all of your main tools kind of on the side here. So you've got selection, you've got highlighter, and so I can come here, highlight something. And you can see that up there, I can come and underline if I wanted to. And then we've got draw tool, and so I can kind of come on here and start answering stuff. 80. And I think you can imagine, I'm actually, just try it. Exactly underneath you. So this works all with the smartboard as well. So I can draw that out. Now at the start of your class, what you're really going to want to do though, is you come up here to share, and you've got the link, the email, but you also have pin. And so link and email is kind of like Google Docs. I'm sure you've all seen that. You generate pin. And don't do this right now because I have an activity plan for you, but every single student would join this pin. and they're gonna see your lesson in real time. They're gonna see everything you're writing, and this way you're gonna experience in a minute here. They're gonna see everything that you're doing. And I also mention real quick, as you'll need it in a minute, you also have the text box tool. You just kind of drag that out, and then you can type on the keyboard and whatnot for like Chromebooks and things. But keep in mind, most Chromebooks, all the Chromebooks here in WCS are also touchscreen. So I've seen students bring out styluses, things like that they write on there with. So that's kind of the brief overview of Markify. I should also mention everyone can export this, including students. So if they wanted to save the notes on their computer, they can do that. They can come back to it later. And that's probably been one of the biggest aspects of it. Didn't know I'd be doing limbo when I heard this. Oh, somebody did join. Who didn't listen? Oh, Kaiser didn't listen. No shot. All right, so that's kind of the basic rundown of Markify. The key things you're going to need to remember here in a minute is going to be these tools. You're going to want to remember how do I do the text box and things like that for the activity. And so, speaking about an activity, what are we going to do? I hope all of you brought your computers, all right? I know it was in the email. None of you forgot, right?
Can I borrow a phone or a charger?
You're gonna have to go to the library. All right, so I actually have here a pin for every subject. Now, if you don't teach a subject, then just pick your favorite one, I guess. All right, I have limited time in it. So if you're some STEM teacher or something.
Yeah.
All right, real quick here, we're seeing it should be. All right, we're seeing some errors with class link. That's we're working some stuff out. What I'm going to do here real quick.
Did you go to your dashboard?
Pretty fast, man.
All right, so real quick, guys, we're seeing some errors with class link. So if you just type this link in, it'll take you to the page. So you don't have to open it in class.
Were you able to get it?
Markify.net/.
Go to Markify, or go, like open up Chrome. Yeah. Just go to his
We were gonna cover the one that had man.
Okay, raise your hand if you've not gotten in. Okay, most people.
And then type it. Make her boy.
everyone's still trying to get on.
Oh, okay. Right there.
Are you able to get on?
She's got to make it.
All right, everyone, let's give our jump ahead.
It's okay, it's okay.
So, if you've written anything or started doing any of the activities, please erase it. We're going to start over real quick. Yeah, you're not Stop jumping ahead, everyone. All right. If you've made anyone an editor, then make them a viewer again. All right. So first and foremost, can all of our teacher coaches, I've talked to you, so you know you're one. Can all of them stand up real quick, raise their hand, make themselves known? All right. So Ms. Spriniak here, she is the English coach. All right. No applause. All right, Coach Saunders back there. He's the history coach.
Join my lesson.
Miss Bernard is your science coach. And Coach Slazer, he is the math coach. So your coaches are your teachers, all right? Think of them like the teacher at the front of the classroom. All right, they have the lesson, they made it, they actually sent me the pin, and they also are the ones that give the editing access to students. So if you don't see the tools and things, which you shouldn't, then you're a viewer, which is what the student sees when they got. If everyone got on the lesson and could just edit freely, it'd be a huge mess. So that's what's going on. So the first activity, I have two activities, they're both about 10 minutes here. So the first activity is really, it depends on what subject you join. So like history has a map, and you're going to have 8 minutes to try to complete that map. Now here's the catch. None of the teacher coaches are allowed to answer any of the questions, all right? Only the viewers or the students can answer them, and that teacher coach is going to grant editing access to 4 students at a time. And they can only do it at 4 at a time, and every 2 minutes they're going to have to switch out who's their editor. All right, teacher coaches, do you understand? Yeah. Everyone understand?
So how do you know you're an editor versus a viewer?
It will let you know. Let me know if you're not. So at this time, on the first lesson, second page for everyone, will the teacher coach please grant editing to their first 4 people that they're going to let be a student to start answering their activity? If you're an editor, it'll let you know. If not, you're a viewer, and then in 2 minutes, we're going to kind of switch who's the viewer or editor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you better be here. All right? So, hey, let's do this. Hey, let's go. Number 40 up there on the right you got 5 and 6. And then we're going to go, let's go eat.
All right, at this time, we're going to swap out some more editors.
Somebody take over.
Or you can just say,
I can click your
Alright, so students, you should also be able to click on the members button and kind of get an idea for who's the editor. Sorry, I didn't mean to make Alright, we're going to swap out one more time. 4 more people, give them the spotlight.
Alright, are we swapping more people in? Alright, Haley, you're in.
I'll be able to play those cards.
Alright, so if you didn't know, if you're actually looking in the members list, it'll show idle if the student's not on that. Alright guys, it looks like everyone's just about done, or at least kind of understands the first assignment. So at this time, all the coaches remove all editing. Remove all editing. Has everyone lost editing access? No, don't kick me out. Don't kick me out. So, at this time, we're going to go to the second assignment, and I think this is the one that's going to be fun. You guys are all going to be competing as subjects to see which one is going to be crowned as the subject champion. All right, it's going to be math, English, science, or history. And I know some of you are pretty competitive. Some of you are coaches. And so, if you scroll down past that first stop, and you go to the second page, hopefully nobody has started answering it. Don't cheat. You're going to see about 40 clipboards. And whoever answers the most questions on those clipboards, it's different for each subject. Whoever answers the most questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes is going to be the winner. And you're going to give everyone editing. Everyone editing.
Should have to be the right answer.
Yes.
You should. This is just meant to kind of show the editing. So, at this time, coaches, if you open up the members list and you click on viewer, you're going to see the option to give everyone editing. And we're going to do that. Now, I know you wouldn't ideally give everyone editing in a class, but this is just meant to kind of show it, show how powerful you could do it, and the kind of different assignments you could do. Right? Everyone go. You're not ready. Oh, they're going.
Every single one of them is
Yeah. But that's why I said it's not that's the first one.
Oh, yeah, so you For the kids, that's the most effective.
too many markers flying around.
It's a busy screen.
Yes.
Well, I'm guessing in a classroom setting, you wouldn't grant.
You would know that.
He's just showing.
You can't disable person.
It would be a road less traveled. We're not doing
The cat is lying on the couch. L-I-E-I-N. I love it. My cat would be good. My cat lies all the time. Why do I feel like I'm taking a 7th grade back?
The ampere is there.
All right. So I know you guys are really good at your subject area, so I think we're just going to do whoever finishes there first. Everyone finished already? Is anyone else done?
I done my homework yesterday. I done it. I already done it.
Get it started. All right, so
Matt's done.
It looks like we're kind of figuring out our places here. First place, unfortunately, is English. Now, I wanted the 3D print like a nice little trophy, but I tried, didn't get it done in time, so I'll try to bring it Tuesday. I wanted to print like a nice little first place, second place, third place. Second place, we got Coach Slazer with math. That's right.
Number one in our hearts.
Anyone else done? All right, well, the other two people didn't
Did
finish. So got
English
missing
write
assignment.
complete sentences?
Science, okay, science third place. Now, normally you would probably want to go through this and check for accuracy, but we're just going to think that all of you guys know your stuff, and we're not going to go through that.
She bakes cookies for her friends now.
All right, so promise I'm almost done, and I'll leave you alone for the rest of the day, or the rest of the weekend, really. I've got one more thing, so if everyone will kind of exit out, go back to the join page. I've got one more kind of lesson.
Those are two different answer choices. She baked friends are the answer choices.
All right, so my last thing before we kind of get to questions.
Yeah, and she, I guess.
So everyone joined his pin. I just want to say thank you, Brentwood High School, for everything that's made possible with this. I cannot. Markify it really would not be here. I could have the whole thing coded in my basement right now, but it would still just be a hobby project. It wouldn't be something that can actually be used. And so if it wasn't for all of you, all the support I've gotten over the past 2 to 3 years in trying to make this, it wouldn't exist. Specifically, I want to say a huge thank you to Mr. Feldhouse, if he's in here. Coach Sanford. Dr. Morero. And of course, all of you and the amazing staff. All right, so if everyone kind of joined this pin, you can see at the bottom, last activity, write your favorite thing about Brentwood High School somewhere around the bubble. And I'm going to give all of you edit.
What was the second part of it? She had F8, 9, I think here, it was 44.
So it stays on. And so what I do is you can upload ones for extra. My downloads are as a PDF.
All right, so I'm going to go through it. Go ahead and get in. I will mention real quick, I meant to mention this earlier, but one thing that's cool too, if I hit share and go to link, if I enable this link and I turn this on, this link will actually automatically log in students if you put it in school. So instead of doing the pin, you can actually take this link, put it as like a Schoology assignment, and when they click it, it'll log them in and do all that, and they won't have to enter a name in or pin or anything like that. Just go in here.
He has to go through it.
You don't have that.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
And then I
Drag it over.
So yeah.
Oh, you got it right there. Sure. Click it again.
Is anyone not in? Needs to be in?
F8944D. There you go. Yeah, and then you just type through.
That's what I found to be the most important.
All right, so is everyone in? Everyone getting there? All right, so I guess now for the last part of my session, and then I'll get out of here. It's kind of like if you have any questions, any concerns, even.
how do I invest? That's what I want.
All right.
I have business cards. Somebody has those.
So guys, as you were working on the first lesson, depending on your subject area, one of the things that I want to highlight, because as a teacher, I think it's powerful, as soon as a student goes off of Markify, it puts a little yellow idol next to their name.
Wait.
Oh, see, there you go. So you as the teacher can stand there, and as you're facilitating who the editors are, you can say, Mr. Kaiser, I need you to be back on task. And not that he would do that, but you know.
Oh, yes, I would.
I think the best example, not of the idol, but just in general that I've seen Markify use, I actually got to give it to Mr. Feldhouse back there, who was telling me about a week or two ago about it. He did a Socratic seminar with this, and he had an inner circle of talkers and an outer circle of listeners. And what he actually did that I thought was interesting though, is he made the inner circle viewers on Markify, and he gave editing to all of the students that were on the outer circle.
Ooh.
And so as the inner circle was talking, he said prior they kind of had some downtime because the inner circle had run out of things to talk about. He also had students that were more shy. And something like Markify, you're putting a text box down, that's a hard thing. That students feel like they're contributing to the lesson and not just saying something that goes in one ear and out the other. So the outer circle would place down and annotate things while the inner circle was talking, and when the inner circle kind of was finished with their conversation, they could just look at what the outer circle had said to talk about next. And so I thought that was very powerful, and of course he swapped the inner and outer circle the next day, I believe, right? Yeah. And so I thought that was probably the best use case I've seen so far with Markify.
Another great way that I used it, we had, like we're reading a short story, right? And so you upload the short story right to Markify, and they actually take notes while we're reading, right? Or you stop and you say, hey, you know, what's the answer to this question? And so they take the notes for you, so you don't have to. And then you just upload that short story or whatever it is, and this is an English perspective. You just upload that to Schoology, and then they have the notes, right? And so they are actively engaging in the note-taking process, and then they also have that later. So I thought that's how I use it as well.
All right.
And guys, as you start diving into Markify and using it in your different subject areas, if you have feedback for Anthony, that's the one thing that we have been really working on is he's been really receptive to the instructional tech team about creating a version history so you know which student is going in and drawing inappropriate pictures, or he can see, you should be able to see as a teacher. So if you have ideas, and one of the other things we talked about the other day was at the end of a lesson, clicking a button that says stop lesson. So someone
on
can't.
that note, I literally one day later,
There.
you can see this button up here at the top, this red button here. When everyone's done, this is the in session button. So to make it, so when you're done with your class, you hit that, and it makes everyone a viewer. Make sure that nobody can come in and start editing or do something else. And I should also mention the pin is permanent unless you remove it. And so if you wanted to write it on a board or something like that to let someone that wasn't there come in and join to see what happened during that day, you can do that as well.
So this is like an exit ticket type thing, and then you can save, and you set, hit like save and save all that.
So the reason I actually was wanting to do this assignment is just to kind of remember this day, and I can come in here and export or print, and we'll see here in a second, and have everyone's annotations save all that. This is a free board, by the way. No, it's just a printout to put in Schoology. What is this image? Yeah. What is this image? Well, not right now. I would not recommend doing the entire class. It's really just trying to make sure everyone got a good opportunity to check out this. But I'm working on the version. The version, and that will show the name of every single person that did that. Yes.
Okay, if you forget to export it, come back to it like days.
Yeah, the whole thing, as I'm sure you're very familiar with now as teachers, the whole thing's saved in the cloud. And so if I go back to the dashboard here, you'll see it's right here, saved in the cloud. You can go back, export it, do whatever you need. So I think everyone's just about done, so I'm going to hit the in session button. And that should make you all back to viewers. So now your lesson's not going to get manipulated while you're done with it, not checking. All right. Any more questions?
I have a question. Can you open multiple lessons at once if you wanted groups to be working on not all together?
Yeah, it's, so you could make, right now, you could make a separate lesson for each group. I know it's a bit of a time intensive.
No, it's not at all, but I was just wondering if you could.
So you can do that, you could have 50 tabs open, no, I don't recommend it. But I am working on something, probably, I'll be honest, it's a very hard feature to add, but what I wanna add by the start of next school year is some kind of, I call it Markify assignments. And it makes it where you can automatically, kinda like, think of like Zoom breakout rooms. And it gives everyone, just with one button press, everyone gets their own document, or a group of people get one document to share. But that's a more long-term thing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Anthony.